I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jackie. Welcome back to Dumb Witch Club.
Yay!
What was that? That was like a drunk sorority girl. Look.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it was cool.
And you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, super cool. Thanks.
Dumb Witch Club.
Yeah.
So you said sorority. So what would our, we would be Delta. Oh, I don't know what W is.
I don't think there is a W.
No, there's no W.
There's V.
Yeah, there's V. There's Z.
Let's just be, I don't know.
Witch.
I'm not good at this.
And I don't know what C is either.
We could be Delta Witch.
Delta Witch.
Why don't we just be Dumb Witch Club?
Yeah, let's just be Dumb Witch Club.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
What do you say about a card pull?
I say let's do it.
Sounds even better.
We have again today the Woodland Wardens deck. Love this deck.
Yeah, and truly, I know you said this last time, but for those of you who didn't watch, which there shouldn't be any of, my favorite thing I think about this deck is that there are two symbolic references for each card.
Yes.
There's an animal, and there's a flora or fauna, like a botanical, I guess.
Botanical
right?
and an animal. Yep.
Botanical animals.
It's cute, and it's wintry, and it's cozy.
Yes.
And these are the vibes right now. These are the vibes we want to sustain right now.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We're not ready for spring.
Yeah.
I mean, I am, but, it's not happening yet.
Right, so you don't want to act too ready.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to get disappointed.
Yeah. Yesterday was, the winteriest winter day of, all winter days. It was so...
Here in Southern California,
Yes.
That's the asterisk on that
yeah,
one.
Of course. That's all I know. That's my perspective.
I know, but I'm just saying, in some parts of the country, they're pipes are freezing and shit. So, you know, we just need to check our privilege. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, anyway, it was the winteriest of winter days in Southern California.
Go on.
And it was very gloomy, and the sun did not come out, and it was very cold for Southern California.
It was really cold.
Yeah, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to lean into this, though. It's a wintry day. It's cozy. I'm going to, make some tea, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, well, good. That's what we're supposed to do, especially if your pipes are freezing.
Yeah, that's rough.
I know.
I wouldn't even know what to do about that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. But all right. Let's pull a card.
Oh, your nails look cute. I just noticed them.
Oh, thank you. I don't usually do my nails, but I did. Okay, this is the Marten and Foxglove.
Ooh.
So this Marten, I've never heard of, frankly. It's a little critter.
It looks like a weasel.
It looks kind of like a weasel or a ferret. Mm-hmm. He's adorable. He's standing up on his hind legs. And the card says mischief. It is 24, card 24.
Uh-oh.
Okay, do you want to do a little read from
Yeah.
here?
The Marten and Foxglove represents the archetypal trickster, the lighthearted mischief maker, the lover of chaos and spontaneity. Martens are a type of weasel. Did I say weasel? I think I said. Looks like weasel. Known for their curiosity, quick movements, and occasional aggression. Romanian folklore tells of martens playing tricks on horses, braiding their manes in the night so they wake to a tangled mess of hair in the morning. And foxgloves are said to be the homes of fairies, another elusive and mischievous creature. For this reason, they are associated with riddles and secrecy.
Wow.
Pay attention to opportunities for spontaneity, travel, and playfulness. A bit of lighthearted mischief, so long as it doesn't hurt anyone, can be healthy, but beware of others' dishonesty. A trick or scam may be afoot.
Wow. Very interesting. Mm-hmm. Also, I love foxgloves, I'll just say.
I
They're
know.
so pretty.
They're so
and they come in beautiful colors. So I am feeling like this is kind of out of the blue a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not what I was expecting.
This
has
afoot?
More energy than I was expecting.
Totally. We were like, oh, it's winter and make tea. And then this was tricking you.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Settle down.
It's not tea. What?
Maybe, maybe this is Venus doing her final bow in Sagittarius.
Oh, that's
She's play, be adventurous, have fun.
Yeah, good luck in the next season.
Yeah. It's I'm about to go into Capricorn and it's all going to be over.
Yeah, that really could be it. That could be...
No, I don't know. I like this vibe. I like it sometimes when there's just a little wild card. Like,
I
literally.
love that. I love that because, yeah, I mean, so often, like, we get the answers we kind of know we're going to get, right? Mm-hmm. And then sometimes there are things that we don't want, but we're like, okay, like, knew that was coming. Mm-hmm. It's nice to be thrown a little curveball sometimes and, like, embrace spontaneity and, like, fun and adventure. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I'm not going to say no to that.
No,
so.
Never.
That was fun. That was a good card pull. Fun. Ooh, it changed my energy, too.
I know, same.
Yeah, exciting.
I know,
okay.
I'm like,
I know, looking everywhere. Wonders everywhere.
Totally. So weird. Okay.
Ooh, let's get into why, though.
Okay.
I feel like I already jumped the gun a little bit.
That's okay.
I think the first big thing we have is Venus enters Capricorn.
Yeah.
So, why don't you say? I already went off on that, so go ahead.
Yeah. I feel like Venus in Capricorn, that Capricorn energy, I think, doesn't super align with what we think of in terms of Venus and what she brings to us. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just we need all of those different shades. And I feel like this one is just, okay, where are you putting your energy for the things that really inspire you and that you really love? And, like, where are you placing that? Do you actually have a plan to ensure that, like, you're drawing those things to you and that you're, that you're putting your energy into things that you really want? It reminded me of a quote from Anchorman when they're talking about love in the newsroom, and then Steve Carell's character is, like, pointing stuff out, and he's like, I love lamp. And they're like, oh, do you really love the lamp, or are you just saying it because you saw it? And he's like, I love lamp. And it made me think of that, because I'm like, do you really love the lamp, or are you just saying it because you saw it? Like, Venus in Capricorn is very much like, are you?
Yes.
And if you are, cool, and that's what you love, awesome, but you need to make sure that you're prioritizing it.
Yes, I think Capricorn is bringing the practicality to the inspiration and the beauty and the loveliness of Venus.
Which we need.
We do need that. I also think during this time you could find, because Venus is about what you attract.
Yeah.
You could find maybe attracting goals or plans to yourself. Like, maybe you're presented with opportunities and you're kind of like, ooh, okay. Like, you're attracting that type of energy to yourself.
Totally.
Especially if your Venus is in Capricorn too. Mm-hmm. This could be like a really productive time, which you're going to love. So
yes, you would love that.
Yes, definitely. So no, it's definitely not a bad thing.
Yeah, cool. Good.
Venus can do no wrong. So.
No, we're never going to say anything bad about that.
Okay, so I know you're asking me what else, and I did write it down, but I'm just going to let you go ahead.
Okay, all right, I'll go. Are you sure? Because, okay, I'll go.
No, I'll let you go because I want to bask in the glory.
Oh, I love that. That's a good vibe. Yeah. Yes, January 25th, full moon in, you guessed it. Yep, Leo. Yes.
I love a Leo moon all the time, but I love the full moon in Leo.
Well, it just matches the energy so much better, right? Because the Leo is...
It really does.
Yeah, it's so about basking sort of in light, and full moon is the most light you can get out of the moon. So, like, it makes sense that you would like that. It's a good one. It's a juicy one. It's a necessary one. We, teased it back on our January energy report a little bit, and probably last week a little bit. But, it's a full moon, so we have the opposing energy to the sun, which is in Aquarius. Well, it will be in Aquarius at that time. And so you really do have that kind of like head, heart, tug and pull back and forth about that. But I think what's really nice about the Leo full moon is it's so much easier to lean into what is really important to you. Mm-hmm. It really brings out that kind of like heart side. And it's good to have a little bit of that head side too, because you can really weigh kind of where you're placing your energy and if it's in the right places. But that's also vulnerable when you're following your heart that way. That can feel a little bit scary.
That's true.
And a little bit out there. So
yeah, and I love also how, sometimes when we talk about these things, it seems like we're talking about big things like going and like asking someone on a date and be you and shine and don't be scared. It might be that, but it might be like, wear that funky sweater with the shirt that's a little bit mismatchy but really feels good to you.
Yes.
It could be small.
It can, and that I'm really glad that you bring that up, because it very much has that Leo Leo energy in general, but then especially a full moon, has that I'm stepping into this...
The spotlight.
And the spotlight is different for everyone.
Exactly.
And it can be just like a jacket that you've been like, I can't pull this off. Like, yes, you can. That Leo energy is about like, I am that bitch. And like, even if like inside I'm kind of shaking about it or I'm a little bit about it, it's that acting your way into it and just, this is the show and this is what I'm doing. And everyone's going to believe it because this is just what I'm doing. You're going to get to that place if you adopt that energy more than just waiting to feel it. You're never going to feel it. If you just sit there and wait, it's not going to come to you.
Yeah. So, January 25th, do it.
Yes. Do it. Be about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love that. That was good energy and good advice. Okay, we got another biggie sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's the next day on the 26th. So we have I don't even want to call Uranus our friend.
I know. I was like, are you going to say friend?
No. No, I'm very comfortable not being friends with Uranus.
Uranus is like wacky, man. Like, I don't even know how to be friends with Uranus.
He doesn't know how either.
No, that's true. He doesn't know how either.
Yeah, so, he is that planet that is out there, super wonky, elliptical, so in and out of retrogrades a lot.
Totally.
Has an 84-year cycle, so is changing signs, relatively infrequently, but, you may have a return in your lifetime. Anyways, that's all about just Uranus stuff. But what's happening on the 26th is Uranus is going direct.
Yeah.
In the sign of Taurus, which it's been bouncing in and out around in. So what do we need to know about that?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I feel like this is another push. I feel like you're going to see opportunities come up around this time that are going to be presented to you. I like that we are coming off of that Leo full moon energy because you're going to be really you-centered. And so I think it'll be easier to filter through what inspiration might come to you from Uranus and decide like what to take and sort of what to let go. But in Taurus, I feel like it very much is like, well, if you want these things to change and you want to see these things, you have to be the one to do it.
Yep. I think that's right. And Uranus energy is about rebellion, is about awareness, especially self-awareness, even though it's a collective kind of energy in a lot of ways. It's about awakening. It's about really tackling the tough stuff to make growth and changes.
Yes.
In a different way than Pluto's about transformation. It's a little bit of a different energy than that. Because it's that kind of 11th house Aquarius kind of energy, which is apropos for this time of year.
Yes.
Even though he's in the sign of Taurus, all of that is getting filtered through that kind of productive, logical, rational Taurus energy.
Yep.
So if you want to look at this on an individual level, check which house Uranus is in for you in your chart. And that will tell you where you need to progress in your awareness. And maybe you can use some Taurus skills to do that, whether or not, it's in Taurus for you.
Sure.
As a collective, I think we're going to see a focus on finances, material goods, love and connection, and changes that may need to happen with those things.
Yeah, it's like be the change you want to see in the world.
Yes, exactly.
So energy.
Thanks. Alrighty.
It's a lot of homework.
I know.
This why though is just like a list of homework.
I know. It is.
Do this and be this and like think about, okay, relax.
I know. It's pretty annoying too because we are in Aquarius season now.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's because we're in Capricorn Aquarius cusp season right now.
That's why. That's why. Oh man, if you haven't watched that episode from last week, go watch that episode.
Yeah, you really should. It's a good one. Okay. I think that's why though.
That's why though.
Yay.
Cool.
All right, friend.
All right. Shall we?
We got some big witch
Take
energy.
on our big witch energy for
New Moon Who Dis
Capricorn edition.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll just I think start off by saying the moon is one of the main personal planets.
Yes.
It's not a planet. I know that.
It's
just
a luminary.
what we call it, okay? It's for shorthand. It's a luminary. You're right. The moon represents your emotions, your relationship to emotion,
Yep.
your needs, archetypal mother and mothering energy that you may possess, whether or not you are a mother or genetically or biologically could be a mother.
Right.
Intuition, childhood, learned or earned wounds and coping skills. All of this kind of internal, really private kind of core stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Yep, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. I have nothing to add to that.
So what do we see when all of that filters through the sign energy of Capricorn?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a wild ride. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Capricorn is not super happy with that moon placement. It's not super comfortable in it.
Yes. In fact, the moon is said to be in what's called detriment in Capricorn. All that means is that it's the opposite of the rulership sign. So the moon's rulership is with Cancer. They're copacetic, they're one and the same, they're feeling and nurturing and loving, all in that little, soup pot, right?
Yes.
But then you drop the moon into Capricorn's soup pot, and the moon is like,
This does not feel the same.
yeah, it's like, this water is cold.
What's happening? Is this even soup?
Yeah. So, and it doesn't mean that it's bad.
No.
It doesn't mean that it's a negative placement.
No.
It doesn't mean that you're going to I don't know.
I know.
You might
Fail.
struggle in certain ways, but it doesn't, see, it's so interesting that you say that.
Yeah.
Because I think a moon in Capricorn is inordinately afraid of failing.
100%.
And it really, if it's not channeled right, can prevent people from fulfilling their life's destiny.
Yes, I know. It's it's interesting when people they may not know, and then they start to kind of find things out, and then they're looking up things.
In astrology.
And then, let's say they figure out that they are a Capricorn moon, and then they're confronting what they're probably reading and seeing, in sort of these articles online, whatever, talking to people. And that's what they're hearing. And it's like, oh, it's not a good placement. And, oh, it's like to its detriment. And like, oh, and then, it sort of becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, no wonder, like, I don't, do this. And like, that is a very Capricorn thing to do, is to be like hard on oneself in that way too.
Totally.
So it doesn't help when it's like a moon placement in Capricorn that you have, because then that's just heightened even more of like being hard on yourself or not being perfect at something. And so it makes me feel bad, because we don't want people to feel that way. Like, there's a reason why there's placements for you the way that they are. And just because they're a little difficult doesn't mean that that's just a wash for that area of your life, or that you're never going to be able to be the person you want to be. It's just, it's a different way of approaching things. It takes a little bit more growth, from you as a person, but it's possible to do.
Definitely. And I think in this concept, like where we're kind of the polarity energies of Capricorn and Cancer, they are linked. That means they have linked lessons to learn in life. I love all that alliteration that I just got to do. But to learn in life. I loved it. No, but it's true. So, you might weigh it out on the one hand, like, oh, if you have a moon in Cancer, that's so beautiful and easy. It's not. There's hard lessons to learn with that. And there are lessons about being overly emotional and too sensitive and too stuck in your feelings. The Capricorn side is going to have the opposite lesson.
Yes.
They're going to need to learn to embrace emotionality, to listen to their own and other people's emotions, because they're not cozy and comfy with them. So the lessons are parallel. They're just on different sides.
100%. And I know that that's like a tough pill to swallow in a way, but we all have to. Like, there are pills hidden in our charts everywhere, and that's what makes us unique, and it's also what grows you as a person. And so, this is what this is, but yeah, I was really trying to, I mean, I was honest with my notes and like everything I have to say, but I really was trying to focus it in a positive and like growth oriented way, because I don't want it to yet be another message to Capricorn moons like, yeah, you suck at this, because you don't.
Yeah, no, and again, it's like you were saying, especially for a Capricorn, they're like, how do I get good at emotions? I'm not good at emotions. Like, I don't want to do that.
You see them like Googling.
Yeah, how do I get good at emotions?
Are there classes for emotions?
Yeah, exactly. But the truth is, you can get better at emotions.
You can. And you definitely
They are skills. There are skills related to emotions. So, hope is not lost. But
no.
So I really want to say, like, what are some of the ways or positive ways that Capricorn shows up in Moon?
Well, I think we're kind of touching on it, like we're sort of talking around it, like with this is, that Capricorn perseverance. Mm-hmm. Capricorns will be committed to doing everything they possibly can and be the best they possibly can at things, especially when they're challenging and they don't come naturally. So in that way, you're inherently going to be better at emotions because you're not going to give up until you are.
Yeah.
And so that's it, like kind of in a nutshell, right? It's like you are because you're going to try until you are.
See, I love that. And I also think it's so sweet too. I'm like, shedding a little tear for all like Capricorn moons. But Capricorns feel really safe with rules and structure and systems. And that's true of Capricorn energy. And I think particularly when we apply that to the moon energy, that's where you can start to see there's discomfort because emotions seem like wild and whatever, know. But thinking about, your intuition, about that mother and mothering energy, I think a Capricorn moon placement can make somebody a very motherly type of figure, like the mom in the friend group type of thing, because she's the one, I'm just saying who's out there with that Capricorn moon, like, hey, everybody, like, let's be safe. Let's make sure we're in line. Let's make sure we text each other's locations, because that structure and that system that she's got is what it makes her feel safe. So she's keeping her friends safe. And, like, that's how she's loving on and nurturing them.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think that is how that is a way in which they're comfortable displaying their emotions, because it's not maybe being like sort of flowery about it. It's not maybe talking about it or being super vulnerable that way, but it's demonstrating it in an earthy way.
Yes, an action oriented way.
Yes. And that's the way that they demonstrate their love and affection for people. Yeah. Absolutely. And so I think that it's important for everyone to pay attention to the different ways that people express their emotions and their affection and love. Like, it doesn't all look exactly the same. And sometimes with earth signs, particularly Capricorn, because of sort of just like the put togetherness of them, like it's hard to see through that surface. But if you really kind of try to pay attention to those things, that's the way they're telling you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and also if you have someone in your life who is a moon in Capricorn, and they do open up to you and they show you that vulnerability and they show you that like inside tender, polarity Cancer energy, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You should honor and respect and embrace that in them. And I think because the moon also represents our childhood and wounds,
right,
that person also could have grown up in an environment that did not nurture their emotions.
Absolutely.
And so as they were struggling, trying to filter their emotional world through that Capricorn energy, their environment also shut them down and didn't want them to express that.
That's absolutely valid.
And so then the struggle continued because they never got validated and they never got, what they needed emotionally.
Yeah, because, what you present outwardly starts to dictate the way it dictates what comes back to you, and it starts to inform people how to treat you, and it informs what your role is. And sometimes unfairly these things happen when we're really young, around mostly family, because those are the people that know you from when you're really, really young and figuring this stuff out into adulthood and beyond. The chosen family that you have might come in at different stages of time, and so maybe it's not the same expectation. But particularly with sort of family, this person could have been relied on endlessly to maintain that self-containment and that cool head and that approach. And like, they're the ones that are looked to like manage, like everything that you were just saying, to manage everybody's business and make sure everyone is safe and make sure that things aren't, you know, getting out of control. But it's like, where do they put what they're feeling like with all of that? That's extremely difficult, and they may have never been taught and also don't feel comfortable with it. So it's like a double-edged sword.
No, I think that's true. And I think what we're talking about is really, there is this complex relationship between the you that you are when you just like come into this, you know, earthly being, and the environment that you're in. And, you know, you don't choose the environment you come into, you just come into it. But even in these really like nuanced ways, there is this shaping that happens both directions.
Totally.
And I think that's where a lot of the biggest life lessons that we all have individually in our lives start, with these really complex, kind of twisted up, well, the environment was this way, but I was also this way. And, you know?
Yes.
It's a lot.
Yes, and like, this is what I want to change, and I'm trying, but like, it's hard. Yeah, it is a lot. And I think with Capricorn moons particularly, the ability to sort of be individualistic and stand on their own, that's still very there. Just like with the Capricorn sun, it's just emotionally when it's the moon. And so it's very easy for them to kind of just self-isolate like that and be like, okay, well, like, I'm bad at this, or I can't really figure out how to do this interpersonal thing, so I'm just not going to, and I'm going to separate myself completely from all of that and everything. And like, that is such a tough place to be too.
Yes, and I think you're right. It's maybe not, and everyone can be different.
Yeah.
So maybe for some people, it's not so much that they're like, oh, I'm not good at this emotion stuff.
Sure.
They're like, I'm great at it as long as you don't get involved.
That's true. That's true.
And that's a tough place to be.
It is, because it's so isolating. And even though they're comfortable to an extent with isolation, no one ever wants to feel completely isolated emotionally.
No.
It's going to bother you. It's going to weigh on you. There are going to be, as much as there might be people where it's easy for them to look at that in a very logical way and be like, well, I just don't need this. Like, that is, there's going to be emotional attachments to people that they're going to want to have, and then that might get in the way and they feel like they can't.
Yes. So kind of circling back to, if you have someone in your life who has a moon in Capricorn, honor and feel honored if they share and open up with you. And don't pressure them to do that. Let them know quietly, in that Capricorn proper way, that you are there. And that when they choose, if they choose to come to you, that you will receive and accept them. And I think that's kind of a really helpful position to take if you have a person like this in your life. And if you are that person, look at the people around you. See who's offering to be there for you. Maybe take them up on that, you know?
Absolutely.
See what happens, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that's the other thing, like, that goes along with the perseverance of the Capricorn spirit and energy too. Like, Capricorns are not afraid of work. They love work. Like, if it's a project, they're going to be into it, and they're really going to feel like they can do this project. So they're going to work around what's given to them and sort of the feedback that they're getting, and really like acknowledge it and think about it internally and process it and everything like that. And even when relationships are a little bit difficult, I would say this moon placement is better than a lot of them at sticking it out. And being like, okay, I'll adjust, or maybe this needs to be changed.
I'm willing to put the work in.
I'm willing to put the work in. Because I feel like Capricorns are very able to see bigger picture, long term. This is a goal. I'm not here yet. But if I do these things, like, I'm moving towards that.
Yes, and like they want to get there.
They do. They do. But they're okay if that doesn't happen for like a while. You know, like they'll stick it out. They'll continue. So that's a great thing. That's an amazing thing. Like, what an amazing trait to have, because that being willing to work on something, like, everything aside, right? Like being willing to work on something and being vulnerable in that way is huge. That is the way that people grow as humans.
Absolutely. And I am often heard to say the effort made to genuinely repair damage that's happened in a relationship goes a lot further than the damage to begin with.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or preventing the damage to ever happen to begin with. Mm-hmm. If there's been damage, repair it, work on it, fix it. Mm-hmm. If you don't do that, then the damage is done, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I think that's another like really positive thing about
it. Really is. And I know you sort of touched on this one in a way where it could start to skew negative, where if these people are taken advantage of for their, calm, cool, and collected heads.
Definitely.
But I think that is a real strength.
Oh my gosh,
that
so much
you
so.
can show up in a rational way,
yes,
in an emotional situation,
yes,
not get flustered, be able to manage things, maybe help people. You're going to have to process your own emotions later, maybe, and that's kind of the rub. That's the rub, I think that is a really positive strength of this placement.
Absolutely.
Because we need people like that.
We so do. I mean,
especially when we aren't people like that.
100%. Yes. Capricorn moons have good emotional heads on their shoulders.
Right.
And that is so needed. And
so needed.
The ability, sometimes this word is used in a negative way, but I don't think it's wholly negative. Their ability to compartmentalize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to compartmentalize. Everybody does it. Like, it's just become this buzz term that like people think it's bad, but it's not. You have to be able to do it. You can't be having all these things all the time. Like, you have to be able to separate things out. And Capricorn moons do such a good job at that. It's kind of, you touched on the like, later you do have to return to the compartment that you put away.
Right.
You can't just stack the
you can't just keep stuffing it full, you know.
You have to go through the compartments. But you will, we know you will. Because that's the other thing, they will. Because they're going to know that they're stacking up there and they're not going to be comfortable with that.
Yeah, they don't like that either.
That's like weakness, right? That's like just piling up.
That's would not an undone job. They're like, I'm not leaving an undone job.
I will not leave an undone job. I don't care how hard it is or how bad it is, I'll get, into it and get my hands dirty. And that's the other thing about Capricorn, energy. Like, they'll get their hands dirty if that's what they have to do, and it's okay.
I think there's a lot to admire about this placement, actually, and I'm really just loving it more and more the more that we're talking about it. What other points do you have that we haven't covered?
One of the only other points I was thinking about is Capricorn energy is very forward focused. It's very look to the future, look at the horizon, look at the top of the mountain. The gaze is this way.
Yes.
I think there's a difficulty in looking behind. It has a double side, right? Because you don't want to get too stuck in looking behind. Right. And there are some placements who really get real mired down in that. And that's not going to do you any favors. In fact, that's probably like worse. But at the same time, I think maybe just like a little like advice-ish kind of thing is like, that is a great thing to do, and like forward focus and leaving the things in the past, being the past is wonderful, and it's amazing that they're able to do that. Yes. Like, I have a lot of admiration for it because I'm not that person. But it is good to reflect on some of the things that did occur, and it's okay if other people do, and it's not, an attack all the time. It's just sometimes things need to be rehashed so that they don't happen again, and so that you don't see them again down there.
Yes, that is a good way to put that too, Yeah. If you don't want to see it up ahead, you got to make sure you don't bring it with you.
Exactly.
So you got to look back and make sure it's, left
that it's
behind.
Handled.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, I like that. I think that's good. I do. I feel like feel a lot of admiration for this.
Yeah, I do too.
And a little, some sympathy in ways. I think it's challenging placement.
It is.
But I think it's a good one.
It's a good one. I think there's a lot it's rich with opportunity, right? There's a lot that you can be and you can do with this placement. Because it's not easy. And I think, well, how much more Capricorn can you be? Like, they don't want things to be easy. Like, they thrive when it's not. So it's just another opportunity for them to prove that they can do it.
I also just want to say something quickly about this whole new moon Hoodis concept, which I know it's almost the end of the episode now, but I like it a lot because you can have a moon in Capricorn any time of the year.
Yes.
With any sun sign or any other sign placement. Yeah. And so many of the other sign placements really are seasonal.
Yeah.
And even, Venus kind of tends to clump together with the sun sign and, things like that.
Sure.
So I really like how a moon is a wild card.
Yeah, I do too.
And it can really shed this really different, interesting kind of energy light into a whole chart.
Yes.
So.
I'm glad that you mentioned that too, because I know we mentioned it on the last one with Sagittarius moon, because it's my moon placement. So it's hard for me to talk about that, extrapolating it out from all the other things I have going on. It was really hard for me to do that. I tried. Mm-hmm. With this one, obviously, neither of us, this isn't our placement. So it's easier to isolate this without looking at that. But if you are a Capricorn moon, you're probably thinking, yeah, but I'm a Leo sun. And so, like, the things that you're saying right now, yeah, I get, but, like, also, like, I don't care. Like, there's gonna, or you're, like, a Libra sun, and you're like, yeah, like, it's so much pressure. I don't know. There's, like, gonna be, like, different little, flavors that are the other elements and the other things that all come together. And certainly that is true. So, like, if you're watching it and you're thinking that, you're right. You're not wrong at all. You're totally right, which is why we talk about, like, all of these things. And again, Jackie mentioned at the beginning of the show, like, it's the moon sign is one of your kind of, like, building blocks of your astrological personality. We do talk about the big three. If you want to, like, kind of dive a little bit deeper into that, you can go back to that episode, which was June of last year.
Oh, yeah.
And
good remembering.
Yeah, and then kind of go back to that, and then maybe, But yes, it's all...
All right. Does that wrap up our big witch energy? Okay. I have a spell of the week.
Okay.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Do I get the song?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you do. I was like, wait, what song? Yes. Spell of the week.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So this spell is called Blending Spell for Forgiveness.
Ooh.
So I have several asterisks on this before I get started, okay? They are, number 1, forgiveness is not something you do for other people. I know this, and you should too. The second one is, forgiveness is not applicable in every circumstances. There may be people and situations that you never have to forgive or want to forgive. That's okay too.
Yep.
Number 3, forgiveness does not change a relationship or boundaries that you have set with the person who might be the object of forgiveness. So these are the things I wanted to say.
I love it.
Before I go into, if you choose to do a spell or to work on forgiveness, this is something that you can use if you choose to, and it makes sense for your circumstances.
Wonderful.
All right, so that out of the way. This kind of has 2 parts. It could be all done in 1 part, but it could be done in 2 parts. It'll make sense. So for part 1, you need salt, you need pepper, you need a plate, and you need a pouch or a bag. So what you're going to do is make equal piles of salt and pepper, approximately equal, on the plate. And you're going to think about what or who needs forgiveness. This could even be yourself. Maybe you're holding yourself accountable for something. Maybe you have shame about something and you want to let go of that in a way of, like, forgiving yourself for something. That's valid too. So what you're going to do is you're going to think about what that is. And you're just going to slowly mix clockwise with 1 finger. You're going to mix the salt and pepper together. And the more you do that in this circle, they'll mix together. And once that's adequately mixed and you kind of feel like you've thought through everything that you want to, you're either going to put that in a pouch or the bag, and then you'll do part 2 separately. Or you can go right into part 2 without using the bag or the pouch. And all part 2 is... And the only reason I broke it into 2 parts is because I kind of thought maybe the setting that you're in part 1 might not be the setting you can do part 2 in.
Okay.
So it just kind of depends on where you're at. Part 2, I imagined if, you can go outside if you're already outside, or if you can do this while you're inside, that's okay too. But you might have to go outside to do it. Simply because it involves taking the mixture that you made, and throwing it over your shoulder, left and right. And you want to do this a couple of times on each side, however much you want. And while you're doing that, or as you're doing that, I just want you to take deep breaths and say something like, I cast off the suffering. I have suffered enough. I am whole. You want to end on a big exhale. If you can throw all of it, that's ideal. If you have any left over, you can dispose of it in a, witchy spell way, like burying, or you can save it for later and do it again and add to it if you need to do that too.
That's very powerful. It's also very, very Capricorn moon coded.
Tell me how.
Because I feel like Capricorn moons might struggle particularly with, maybe with other people, but forgiveness for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of self-flagellation and inner anguish in a Cap moon. And so I feel like this is very coded to someone who struggles with that.
No, I think you're right. And that wasn't really something I thought about intentionally. But
right.
No, I think that you're right. So I think this is a really powerful spell. And I hope that it speaks to some of you in whatever way you might need to use that.
It's definitely meant for some people. I can feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Me too. I know. I was kind of surprised that this one came out of my head this morning.
Same. This episode is full of surprises.
It really is.
This was surprising. That was surprising. The card pull was surprising.
Yes. I know. And we went from like mischievous to this. It's been all over the place.
Yeah, it really has been.
These are my favorite kind of ways. All right. So I guess that about wraps it up then.
It does.
So until next time,
stay witchy, friends.
And stay dumb.
Dumb Witch Club is written and produced by us, Ashley Sidner.
And Jackie Gerard at the Dumb Witch Clubhouse in Orange County, California.
Produced and edited by Matt Heinemeyer. Creative Director and Culture Consultant, Violet Turner.
Original music by Ashley Sidner. And look us up on all your favorite social media platforms, including Patreon.
Until next time, stay witchy, friends.
And stay dumb.